Hi, Leo. Welcome to your December 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, I actually won't be offering those until around the second week of December. So just keep an eye out on the channel. I make an announcement when I do pick them back up. But like I said, it'll roughly be somewhere in that second week of December. As for what we have in front of us, this is why I call it a bridge and a gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. And these are the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to attempt to bridge the gap. And then as far as the decks being used, we have the Lover's Path Tarot on the left side and Tarot of Sexual Magic on the right side. All right, so with all that out of the way, past energy on your side, we have the Queen of Coins. So this is technically a Capricorn court card. So for you guys, that's your sixth house. So this can just be saying that you might have had a lot of focus on your work life, especially given that Capricorn is also the actual ruler of the 10th house too. So if you think about 10th houses, career matters as well. Can this be saying that you had a very heavy focus on your career in the past regarding this connection? So maybe you didn't have much time for it. And I mean, another way this could be playing out too could just be saying that you're really trying to build something stable with this person, because the Queen of Coins is definitely a very stable energy as well. But really, I'm picking up on it primarily being that you guys are just really focused more on career than on the relationship itself. Because if nothing else, what stands out to me is the fact that she has her back to the cards on the right side. So it's like, you're not really even looking at the connection, you're just really more focused on your finances. And I think I picked up on that vibe for you guys in your general readings as well. Past energy on their side, we have the Tower. So in this deck in particular, it's called Betrayal. And obviously, we can see in the artwork anyway, it looks like it's implying a third party dynamic, right? But when I'm not so much picking up on third party being another person here, what I'm picking up on this as being, for most of you anyway, is more of the third party being your career, right? So they might have actually broken up with you because of the fact that you were so heavily focused on your career, or possibly even made assumptions that because you were so dedicated to your career, if that wasn't made clear to them, they might have assumed you were with someone else, like. So for the majority of you, my point being, I don't think there was an actual third party dynamic in the form of traditional cheating going on. I think it was more about, you were just taken away doing your own thing with your work, and maybe this person either assumed that there was something going on, or this is just pointing to, them seeing you putting so much energy into connection as a betrayal in that regard, as far as the relationship goes. And then I would say for a very small percentage of you, it might have been one of those things that, because they felt like they weren't really able to get in touch with you much because you were so heavily focused on work, maybe they might have started something with someone on the side. But I feel like that's probably the least likely scenario of the things that we mentioned here. So hopefully you guys got something from that. But yeah, I would put it this way, especially given that this is in a past position. If there was some kind of third party dynamic, I think you guys would already know about it. So that's something to keep in mind there. And like I said, for those of you, if they did break up with you, obviously you would know that too. And that could be why, because they just felt like you were too heavily focused on finances. In the present position, we have the Six of Coins. So this is actually a Taurus energy. So now actually we do have your 10th house in the mix too. So can this be saying, this card is usually about balance. So this can just be saying that, okay, maybe now your focus has shifted away from your career, right? Maybe that full moon. At the time I'm recording this, we're in the middle of November. So we did have that full moon in Taurus recently. So maybe this is saying that, maybe you just had some big work project you were working on, and maybe it wrapped up around the time of that full moon. So now here we are in December, and maybe you're past that, right? And then now this could just be saying that this is you trying to restore the balance and the connection, right? Like, hey, I know I was really busy with my career, but now, I'm here, I'm trying to get things back on track with us, right? And then if we look at the person right there, It looks like she doesn't look too happy, right? So, and then if we look at the background too, we see the snowy background. So that reminds me of the fact that six of coins comes after the five of coins, right? Which, if you think about the five of coins in traditional tarot, there's usually the people look like they're in bad shape and there's snow outside and it looks like a pretty rough environment. So this could just be saying that you're trying to come out of this with them now, and maybe even offering flat out gifts, right, with the actual coins we see there. And then it looks like they're just not too happy with that right now. um, that's what I'm picking up on there primarily. Present energy on their side, we have the three of swords. So yeah, I mean, again, we do see a third person here. So I will say, for some of you, it definitely could have been an actual traditional third party thing. But what I'm picking up on here more than anything is just that I feel, if anything, they might have felt that was the case, but it wasn't actually the case. It really was that you were focused on your career. But again, maybe there wasn't clear communication around that. And the funny thing is, I think last month your reading was about that too, where I was saying, make sure that there's not any crossed wires as far as, people might assume something's going on when that's not actually the case. So maybe this is just a continuation of that story for you guys. Maybe this is the fallout period now. Um, but yeah, Three of Swords, either way, this could just be saying that they're heartbroken, and maybe that's why, even if you are back around them now, right, they could just be saying that, okay, yeah, you're back on the picture, but they're still hurt from the fact that, they had that disconnect with you guys in the past. So that could be what's going on there. So whether they ended it with you because of that, or, it was just a matter of you were just so busy and there was no formal breakup, it looks like they're still pretty hurt. So, obviously there's probably still love there, but you guys might have to do a little bit of damage control if this story is resonating with you guys so far. Future energy on your side, we have the Ace of Cups. So this could just be saying that this is you now actually wanting to make a new offer to them. So again, building on the same thing, and maybe you're like, all right, for example, the most generic example I could think of right now, but maybe it'll give you some context. Maybe your initial thought was, all right, I'm going to buy them a real nice gift, right? Or take them on a vacation or something, right? Thinking to yourself, well, I worked really hard and, maybe I'll get this for them. And now you're realizing, okay, maybe that wasn't the best approach, right? Like, that just reminded them of the disconnect, if anything, if it was that you were just so wrapped up in career that you didn't really have time to physically spend with them. So that almost like opened up that wound again. So now you're like, all right, well, maybe I just need to actually look at this from the perspective of Cups energy, which is to just be there, be present in the connection. And then that would be what they would want more than physical gifts. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's kind of a generic example, but I think it conveys the point overall. For fewer of you, it can be the fact that maybe there was some third party dynamic and maybe even tried to restore the balance, but now for some of you might be like, well, maybe I just want to, you know, possibly enter into a new connection with that Ace of Cups energy. Like maybe I should just redirect my love energy to a whole new connection altogether. But for most of you, I think this is more just a shift of energy within your connection, really. Future energy on their side, a lot of cards came up. We have the Two of Wands, the Knave of Wands, the Four of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. So uh, a lot of fire energy here where we weren't really, picking up on that before. So could just be pointing to the fact that we'll be in Sagittarius season. And then this is actually a Sagittarius card here too, the Eight of Wands. So maybe this is even saying once we get into Sagittarius season, maybe things improve between the two of you, because the Two of Wands here, this looks like getting that fresh start. Knave of Wands, that's the equivalent to the Page of Wands energy. That's actually taking action. Four of Wands is obviously, that's a pretty good card as well. And the traditional tarot represents a little bit of stability, a combination of that Mars energy where you're taking action, along with the Jupiter energy, which is the expansion and the luck angle. And then, like I said, the Eight of Wands is just a lot of communication going back and forth. So it looks like for most of you guys can get this connection back on track. again, for a very small percentage of you, can this represent them being on that same page too? For those of you who you do decide, well, maybe I just need to, try my luck with someone else, could this represent that they too might be doing the same thing? Yeah, but for most of you, I feel like you guys are actually the ones that are just gonna, get this back on track with them. And what's interesting to me is the bottom of the deck on your side, we have transformation, which is the equivalent to the death card in traditional tarot. So yes, on the one hand, could you say that that definitely seems to add more emphasis to that, at least what I feel is the least likely scenario, which is that you guys are actually thinking about just starting new with someone different altogether? Yeah, you can say that. But this is transformation in this particular deck, which means maybe you're transforming the connection, right? And changing your approach, saying, okay, well, maybe the whole, relying so heavily on finances and to the detriment of the connection isn't really the best way to go. Maybe I just need to be more present and be there for this person, right? And then on top of that, if we look at the names that are on this card, we have Pluto and Persephone. So that makes me think that this could even be one of those things where this is just the nature of your connection, where it's an on again, off again dynamic. So, for example, let's say whatever your career field may be, maybe spring and summer are your busiest times, right? And then maybe when we get closer to fall and winter, your actual, your workload decreases a lot. So you're actually able to be more present in the connection. And, maybe they're aware of that too, but maybe that's where the on again, off again vibe might come from, where, you guys go through this rough period together because you're just not able to be there as much because you're just so wrapped up in what your job is. But then come fall and winter, you're able to be around a lot more often. So that's what I'm picking up on there. And then bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Empress. So this is usually viewed as an open, receptive energy. Usually I view it as a Taurus energy as well, which is your 10th house. So, yes, that is career for a lot of people, but also social status. So, again, this can be saying that this could be you guys getting your connection back on track. And then another way, this could just be saying that they might make you work for it a little bit too, right? Obviously, no pun intended with the work, but you know what I mean? Like they might really want to see some effort from you before they decide to get the connection back on track with you if there was some kind of a break going on in the past. All right, so we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see if I can get anything from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck here. And for those of you who haven't seen this type of reading from me before, I do pre-shuffle the decks before we start recording. And what I'm looking for here is a jumper as far as unspoken messages from you to them. And then we'll do the same as far as unspoken messages from them to you. And what I do is I shuffle for a bit. If I don't get a jumper, I just take that as a sign to keep it moving rather than force it or pull anything from the top, since it is just a general reading. But let's see if we get anything. Like I said, first I'm looking for unspoken messages from you to them. All right, nothing coming up yet, but I'll shuffle a little bit longer, see if we get anything. All right, nothing there, so I'll see if we have any unspoken messages from them to you. All right, nothing coming up here either, but I'll shuffle a little bit longer, see if we get anything. All right, nothing there either, so almost to me seems to emphasize that that could just be pointing out what I was feeling, that maybe you guys aren't even really talking with each other currently. But let's see if we get anything from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck as well. So same thing here, I did pre-shuffle this deck, and I'm just looking for one card here, then we'll wrap up. Okay. Yeah, fitting. All right, so you guys got Unfinished Symphony. There's the artwork, and the number is 10. So this wouldn't surprise me, like especially let's say if you guys did end up separating during the Mercury retrograde period. I'm actually recording this. I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but I'm recording this pretty much in the middle of November. So time I'm recording this, Mercury is still retrograde. So this is the dynamic you guys are coming into in December. You know, maybe that was where the split actually took place. But let's see what the messages have to say. It says unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. The Oracle's message. This is a time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or project and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important that you come to terms with where you are now. Practice radical acceptance. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur and the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you are leaving things unfinished. Reflect on what is past so that the symphony can finally end on a high note. So yeah, interestingly enough, I do feel like that emphasizes for me again that maybe that's really what it was primarily for a lot of you. Like I said, we had that Taurus full moon recently, and maybe this is what this was saying. Like you might have had to put a whole lot of your energy into some kind of a big work project you might have had, or like I said, for some of you, maybe even it's just more of a seasonal thing where that was going to wrap up your busy season, but there was damage done in the meantime. But yeah, hopefully that resonated for you guys. And the relationship message says moving on is difficult when love lingers, things are left unsaid, and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in your relationship and in your heart. You can still feel bound up in relationships when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have that conversation over a cup of coffee. For peace of mind, accept matters as they are, make amends if need be, and declare your feelings, even if only to yourself. Be clear about what was left unresolved, and close the door on the past so you can set yourself free. Only then can new love blossom. So that's interesting there, that especially the last sentence that said, only then can new love blossom, because like I said, we do have the Ace of Cups in the future. So interestingly, I can see that going both ways. Where I said for a lot of you, I feel like this might just be saying that you guys get a reset within this connection, which is to say, okay, you realize that, all right, yeah, maybe I was too heavily focused on career. Maybe there was some damages on the connection, right? And then you try to correct that. But for others of you, like I said, this can't even represent for a smaller percentage of you, possibly even just starting a new connection, realizing that, okay, well, this dynamic in here isn't going to work, right? Especially if there was, like, if they did introduce an actual other person into the relationship, right? So hopefully that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there. Happy holidays, and I'll see you all next year. Bye.